All right, friends, today we are going to be adding some color to our paper by using bleeding tissue paper, and we'll use this paper for a project after our Christmas break. So first thing is, you have a placemat and you have a paper, and the paper has your name on it. There is going to be a little container of tissue paper between you and the person next to you. You will share that. You will also share the water, but you'll each have your own brush. So when you get to your seat, take your paper, make sure that you are sitting at the paper that has your name on it. Flip your paper over, and you are going to take, I would say about 4 or 5 tissue papers to begin with, and make sure that they're separated because they do like to kind of stick together. So what I need for you to do is to get 4 or 5 out of your bowl, and I need for you to kind of separate them and make sure that they are not 2 or 3 pieces stuck together. And what you're going to do is you are going to put water on your paper. You'll lay the tissue paper down and then put water on top of it, okay? You've got to be very careful, though, that you don't keep brushing over the same spot because you can tear a hole in your paper. Okay, so this is the technique. When you take your brush out of the water, wipe a little bit off so it's not dripping everywhere, and then you are just going to pick a place to start, and you're going to brush some water, lay a tissue paper in the water, and then brush water on top again. Okay, now the thing about bleeding tissue paper is, like I said, it bleeds. That means when you get it wet, the color comes out. Okay, so I'm going to repeat this process again. Wet a spot on my paper, put the tissue paper down, and then brush water on top of the tissue paper. Okay, so the color comes out and it bleeds onto your paper. And so what we want is for your whole paper to be covered. It's okay if 2 pieces overlap. That means one is over another one just a little bit, and that's okay. Don't keep rubbing the same spot over and over with your brush because you can indeed rub a hole in your paper. This will stain your fingers, so try not to get this all over your hands. A baby wipe will not get it off. Washing your hands the first time probably will not get it off. It will take several hand washings for you to get this completely off your hands because the color is really strong. So once you run out of tissue paper pieces, you get a few more. Again, separate them. You can lay them on the edge of your placemat and have them ready. And just remember that the technique is wet your paper, tissue paper down, wet your tissue paper. Okay, and when I'm wetting my tissue paper, I'm brushing it completely flat. Okay, completely flat. So wet your paper, lay your tissue paper down, brush over your tissue paper. Okay, so it's a 3-step process, and you keep doing that until you fill in your entire paper. Remember, it's okay if they overlap a little bit where one is on top of another, but please do not lay a tissue paper on top completely of another piece. There's no reason to do that, okay? So you are just doing this over and over until you fill up your paper, okay? Make sure that you get to your edges. Make sure that you only take out a few papers at a time because we don't want to potentially get all of these tissue papers wet. So you've got a bunch still left in your bowl and you're only taking out 3 or 4 or 5 at a time, and you're laying them beside where you're working. And then as you run out, then you go and you get more, okay? Because if we get water on all of these extra tissue papers, then they're sort of messed up. So we are only taking out a few at a time, and we are using them, and then when we're done, then we get out a few more. Okay, so you can see I am almost finished. Of course, it does not take me as long as it will take you to do this because I have done this many times before. And again, check your tissue papers to make sure that they are separated. And again, we will be using this paper after Christmas. So this is how this works, and you just keep going to the edges of your paper. Please do not keep going and keep adding until you run way off of your paper. We're not trying to put tissue paper on the placemat. It may overlap it, and I'm just going to lift this just so you can kind of see. It may hang off the edge just a little bit, and that's okay. You can also, when you get towards the edges and you only need little pieces, you can also tear the tissue paper in half and use those little half pieces around the edges of your paper. So this is how it looks when you're done. As soon as you're finished, you are going to put any unused tissue papers back in your bowl. You will put your brush back in your cup of water, and you will pick up your placemat with your artwork on it, and you will take it to the drying rack. Okay, I hope this all makes sense. And so this will make a really pretty paper when it's dry, and we will use this paper for a project after Christmas.